Yo, what's going on YouTube? GZTV back with another video, and the Sunday football games, the 12 o'clock ones, I just watched the London game this morning, so that's nice, but the 12 o'clock games start shortly, and I figured I'd get my last YouTube video out of the day out for you guys. This is the weekly track roundup for the week of September 30th. It's a pretty damn good week of music, if I do say so myself. Kid Cudi didn't drop the best album, but Freddie Gibbs dropped a fantastic record. And there's a couple of albums here that I didn't review on the channel that I actually do want to talk about. And we are going to start this video off with talking about Tory Lanez and his album, Sorry for What. Going into this album, I thought he was going to use some of these singles that he was dropping earlier this year, very weak records. And I really thought he was going to use those for this album. And to be honest, I can't pinpoint any cool moments on this album, but sitting back, listening to it, just vibing out, I had a really good time listening to it. There were some really cool beats. Tory Lanez has definitely been elevating himself as a rapper, and as an artist as a whole, especially since Alone at Prom. That's probably his best album. Sorry for What is honestly up there now. I mean, Tory Lanez, I'm not hating on Tory Lanez. I think he's had some great moments in his career. He's had some good songs. Love Me Now is a pretty good record. Go through his catalog here. You can find some gems. Of course, you can. I mean, Love Me Now is a great album. I Told You, Memories Don't Die. His first three big albums were actually pretty damn solid, but his last two albums have been really good, honestly. And just shout out to Tory Lanez. I don't have anything to say. He didn't need any features on this album, which I definitely appreciate, because a lot of artists, they come out, they put the damn Avengers together. Example, Nav. Freddie Gibbs somewhat put a pretty good feature list together. Obviously, Freddie Gibbs is a great artist. I'm not here to hate on him either. I mean, you can go watch my review of both that and the Kid Cudi album. It is on my channel, and if you have seen it, thanks for the support. Yeah, just some really good songs. I really like No More Parties in LA. That was so sick. It reminds me of the Kanye song, of course, not sonically, but it's just a callback to that song almost. Not really any bad songs, but not any amazing songs. It's just an album to kind of sit back and enjoy. A Boogie with the Hoodie was the only feature on the record, so only big feature on the record. He had a Yoko Gold on there, but Yoko Gold isn't huge. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm just not a big Yoko Gold fan. A Boogie's like the huge artist on the album. So yeah, Tory Lanez, shout out to him. Up next, Quavo and Takeoff drop a brand new single off of their brand new album, Only Built for Cuban Links, coming actually this week, I believe. This weekend anyway. I think Sunday is when they're dropping this record. So far they've had Hotel Lobby, Big Stunna, Us versus Them, Nothing Changed, and so far, Nothing Changed is a pretty good song. I would say they're going 3 for 18 right now. They're already, without even dropping the album, they're already a good, a strong 1 out of 10, and these are singles, so that's pretty good. Big Stunna was terrible, and I'm not going to change my mind about that. That was not a good record at all, but Nothing Changed is a single off of this. So going into the album, we have a Mustard collab, we have a NBA Youngboy, we have Young Thug and Gunna, and we have Summer Walker. So those are the tracks we're probably going. I might listen to the whole record. You never know. There's going to be 14 new tracks. So 14 new tracks, probably about 40 something minutes of new music from them, so that's really interesting. I'm gonna move on though, because we have Shmino and J. Cole, which a lot of people have actually showed love to this track. It's actually really sick. Shmino's a rapper I'm definitely familiar with, but not a guy that I listen to all that often. I think Shmino is, no, he's not a part of Dreamville. He definitely works with a lot of Dreamville artists, guys like JID. He works with I think he's worked with Earth Gang a couple of times. I'm not really sure. Shmino and J. Cole, I mean, the instrumental on this is great. Again, I'm just here to kind of run down what dropped this week and what you guys should be listening to. If something really caught my ear, like Tory Lanez did, I'll talk about it for a little bit. 90 Proof didn't necessarily catch my ear, but a lot of people like it, and when I was listening to it in the moment, I think it was a pretty solid record, and J. Cole's on here, so that's a plus, obviously. 90 Proof, J. Cole, Shmino. Let's continue it on, because we have Roddy Ricch, Interesting. Roddy Ricch with a brand new single, "Stop Breathing." I think it's a Lucy cut. Little Playboy Cardi reference here. I think it's a Lucy. I don't think it's gonna be on any album. Feed the Streets 3 is actually coming up soon. I don't know if I want to do an edited album reaction of that. I've I haven't necessarily lost faith in Roddy Ricch. He still has some gems. He still has the potential to be a great artist. It's just he doesn't hit the same. He's not falling off, I don't think. I mean, he's still making bands on bands and getting hella streams and making hits. But Feed the Streets 3 is going to be his redemption, so it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with that album. I don't think this song's going to be on that album, but it's still cool to see new Roddy Ricch music. Obviously he's had to deal with a lot of hate from his core fans, like saying, "Hey, dude, you've fallen off, you've gotten worse, you need to kind of up it a little bit, I guess." I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Coming off of Live Life Fast, possibly his worst album. There are a couple of good songs on there, though. It's not an all-the-way trash album. I don't know why people label it as that, but let's just move on. Because we have a YG album that dropped. Not the biggest fan of this album, but there were some pretty decent singles going into it. Obviously, Scared Money with J. Cole and Moneybagg Yo. That's obviously a highlight of the entire record. I don't think anything's going to change that. Maniac was a good song, and then he dropped Alone and Toxic, which were more R&B, and I'm not really a big fan of YG going in the R&B lane. I like an artist that can expand and kind of experiment with new things, but YG is that West Coast gangster rapper. I think he should stick to that. I think he does a good job. He's made some damn good tracks off of it. But based on the album cuts, I've listened to total songs on this album I've listened to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We listened to 9 of the 14 tracks, so I gave this a considerable listen. Usually I just listen to the features, but I listened to a couple of the album cuts. Nothing too amazing there. Solid track on Go Dumb with Her. This is where his R&B was kind of good because he worked with an R&B artist, but I mean, on his own, I don't think he can make it in the R&B lane. He had Mozzie on this album. I mean, Mozzie and YG are great friends. That's almost a guarantee on every YG album from here on out. We had a song Sober with Roddy Ricch and Post Malone, which Roddy Ricch and Post Malone have been in the studio together. I mean, Roddy Ricch was on 24 Karat Toothache off of Post Malone's record there. But this one was kind of disappointing. I expected a little more. Cooped Up was a pretty good record with Roddy Ricch and Post, but this one not so much. No Weapon with Nas. This album wasn't really distinctible at all. There wasn't anything crazy. But it's cool to see YG get a Nas feature. I think that's dope. I mean, especially with what Nas has been doing recently. I think he's won 2 Grammys in the last 4 years. So yeah, Nas has been on a late blossom route, where he's just had sparks of greatness. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, the King's Disease series has done him well. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about YG, but I still respect him. I mean, he has some pretty cool records in his catalog. I mean, For Real is probably one of my favorite YG albums. Stay Dangerous, Still Brazy's a good record. My Crazy Life is not bad. Community Service is okay as well, so he has a couple of good albums under his belt. Decent albums. Trippie Redd. I don't want to talk about this too much. I was not a huge fan of what he dropped. I'm happy he's still dropping. This is called First Draft. There's 2 possible album cuts, which I really hope they're not album cuts. Save Me Please and First Degree Murder. Trippie Redd dropped 2 new songs. I thought it was just going to be 1 song, but I was like, okay, we get a 2-pack. We get an EP. I'm not really a big fan of this, though. The tracks weren't bad necessarily. It's just not anything that's going to put Trippie back. I mean, he's on the map. Is he on the map? I mean, he's on his own record label. I don't know. He has K-Swab on there. He has a couple of other artists that aren't really that big a deal. But I don't have much to say. This album is just, these singles are just meh to me. Nothing too crazy. Probably won't re-listen to this, as will I not with a lot of the new music that came out this week. Freddie Gibbs and Tory Lanez are the only real replay value here. We'll see, though. Trippy Red. DDG dropped an album. Shout out to DDG, YouTuber turned rapper, which is kind of insane because now people don't even look at him as a YouTuber anymore. He is solely a rapper. He's dropped, how many albums has he dropped? He's dropped 4 albums as a rapper, so that's, I mean, he's like made a prolonged career. He's been rapping for about 4 years. And on this album, obviously the single Elon Musk was pretty good. Storyteller actually wasn't bad. That was a single off of this. But in terms of the ones I actually listened to on the album cuts, Polo G and Annalie Choppa, I wonder if that's a single that I didn't pay attention to. There's that, the song with Kevin Gates, and the song with Babyface Ray, which I think the song with Babyface Ray is the best. Yeah, it's probably the best one on the record. Babyface Ray is just really good, though. I really like Babyface Ray, so I don't have anything else to say about DDG. It's just kind of a acknowledgement and a shout out for him. Just make sure he knows that I appreciate what he's been doing. Changing up from YouTuber to rapper, because obviously he probably didn't like the stereotypes and what was tied to his name off of being a YouTuber. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, the extended edition. Denzel Curry drops a deluxe, which I know, the cold-blooded soul versions were cool. I've heard snippets of them. I really like them, but I was really only here for the new cuts, just because they're brand new records, like Chrome Hearts with Zakari. Zakari has done some great work in music over the last 5 years with people like Kendrick Lamar, so it's cool to hear him here. Great voice, adds a lot to a track, great person for a hook, Larger Than Life as well. A lot of cool raw instruments, which is what Melt My Eyes, See Your Future did in the first place as well, so that's always cool. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just kind of skimming through the rest of these. Blue and French Montana dropped a single, but I don't really care about it. A Life Worth Living is this brand new single that Blue and French Montana dropped. I listened to it, but just not much to say. We gotta keep progressing here. Football starts in 10 minutes, and I don't want to hold you guys too long, but let's move on. Uno the Activist. This is another album I kind of wanted to talk about. Uno the Activist. I did not listen to this whole record, but it is Limbus 3. I listened to 12 of the 22 tracks, so I think I covered a decent amount of ground. It's a pretty lengthy record, as is a lot of records nowadays, so I'm not too surprised. No features on here. Uno took it. Uno won. It only took one artist. Again, nothing too crazy about this album. It's kind of the same sentiment with the Tory Lanez album. Nothing too crazy about the album itself, but just the tracks in there were consistent. There was no bad tracks. I was listening and I was enjoying it. I think Playboi Carti might be his cousin, I think, is how they're related. They have to be related somehow. I thought I read something about it. So he's pretty much Playboi Carti with Yeet beats. And you guys say that Yeet and Playboi Carti are the same, but that is the dumbest take I've ever heard in my life. That's not even close to being true. Playboi Carti will not rap on a Yeet beat. Like, if you gave Playboi Carti one of these Yeet beats, he's not rapping on it like Yeet is. I'm sorry. I don't think Yeet's necessarily a better artist than Playboi Carti, but no. Yeet has distinguished his sound, and we should know this by now. Playboi Carti, all the meat writers, Playboi Carti hasn't released an album in 2 years, so I don't know what the hell we're talking about. He's had a merch drop. That's the only big thing he's done. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there. We were talking about Uno the Activist here, not Playboi Carti. Or Yeet, for that matter. But these are good songs, cool instrumentals, a little bit of added touch. So, it's pretty cool. Shout out Uno the Activist. That was cool. Russ dropped he didn't drop a song. He dropped a version of his song from last night. It's a slow version, obviously. I'll listen to Russ any chance I get, even if it's a remix. This one's honestly better. I think this song was made to be a slow song, but it's not that impressive. It's just something cool. Kind of lay back and take in, you know what I mean? So shout out to Russ for that. I didn't listen to Drake or the Ruler's album, rest in peace, though. That might be his first posthumous release. We're going to move on to Hot Boy, though. He has Block Lit with Lil 50. Lil 50 kind of sounds like a 15-year-old. I'm not sure how old Lil 50 is. I guess he is. He does kind of look like it in the album art. Yeah, he looks like he's probably like 17. Maybe younger. But it was a pretty cool track. I mean, Hot Boy's been going off recently, so I got to show my support for him anytime I can. So shout out to Hot Boy there. 24K Golden, dropped a song. I feel like it's been a while since I've heard a 24K Golden song, so that's always interesting. Mistakes, he definitely hopped into a pop lane here on this song, so that's definitely interesting. But not much to say about it. We're going to move on to Big 30. Big 30 dropped an album this week. A lot of people dropped music this week. And yeah, I mean, we're getting later into the year. People are cramming their album for the year in that are intending to drop albums, so it's kind of how it's going to go. I mean, we got Last Man Standing by Big 30. Going into the album, Hot Boy had a great. I loved this single. Scared of Us. It's probably one of my favorite Hot Boy Big 30 songs for both of them, each of their catalogs. But the only songs I listened to on here on the actual album cuts was the song with ATL Jacob and the song with Pooh Shiesty. Obviously, Pooh Shiesty was going to be on this album. Memphis rappers, a part of the same label, I believe. No, I guess they're not, are they? They used to be a part of 1017. I don't know what happened. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Realist K dropped a song called Bruce Wayne. I'm just going to acknowledge it because obviously he was on that Nav record and I had to show some love. Realist K dropped Bruce Wayne. Nothing too impressive, but again, I'm just going to be keeping track of this guy unless he makes a great... or because maybe he'll make a good song. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry. Can dropped an album. I didn't really listen to much of it. I just listened to the song with Lucky because I didn't really have time to just go through all this music. There's so much that dropped this week. Lucky and him, both of their styles were very distinguishable about this song. I don't even know what this is called. #RR, #EFG. I don't know if this is a single or not, but I haven't heard it. I listened to it and I'm not familiar. Maybe sometime I'll find the time to finish this album. Same with Uno the Activist. I might finish his album as well. Yeah, Baby Tate dropped an album, but I didn't listen to it, so the last thing we're going to talk about is J. Breezy dropping a song with Gucci Mane. There's not really much to talk about. I mean, J. Breezy, I don't know who that is, but he got a Gucci Mane feature, so I thought I'd check it out. I don't know, guys. Not much. One thing I did miss this week was Kenny Mason dropping an album. I will listen to that album sometime as well. A lot of people are big fans of that Kenny Mason record, and some people say that he's going to be elevating himself and putting himself in a different league than he was before. So that's great. I got to go watch football. It starts in 5 minutes. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been GZTV reviewing your favorite music in the industry, and we have the weekly track roundups for the stuff that I didn't do on the channel. Obviously, we did Freddie Gibbs and Kid Cudi on the channel, so the rest of the music was open for my ears on stream, and we got a lot of content this week, so that's great. Yeah, have a good rest of your day. Hopefully you're watching football.